Hello, good evening and welcome to Business Live. Coming up in this bulletin, calls intensify for the restoration of some local banks whose licenses were revoked as a result of the banking sector cleanup in 2017. More as renowned businessman and executive chairman of Jonah Capital, Sir Sam Jonah, strongly criticizes the collapse of UT Bank, describing it as a significant act of economic injustice.
For it speaks not only of success, but as I said earlier, of betrayal, of the harsh realities of power and the fragile nature of business when it's entangled with politics. The seizure of this bank was one of the...
Ahead, we will be speaking to the president of the Ghana Association of Restructuring and Insolvency Advisors, Felix Ado. Also in this bulletin, Bank of Ghana justifies remittance audit activities for last year as it rejects suggestions that the exercise is targeted at some individuals and institutions. We are live with the Ghana FinTech and Payments Association. Plus, National Petroleum Authority takes giant steps to bring down the cost of demurrage for fuel importers to ensure quick delivery of petroleum products.
They are not Father Christmas. They are not into make losses. And so if demurrage, demurrage alone is costing them $35 million annually, you can imagine.
We've got details of this and more for you. Please stay. Thanks so much for your time. I am Pius Kojobaka, and looking at our stories. Calls have intensified for the restoration of some local banks whose licenses were revoked as a result of the banking sector cleanup in 2017. Now, renowned businessman and executive chairman of Jonah Capital, Sir Sam Jonah, has strongly criticized the collapse of UT Bank, describing it as a significant act of economic injustice that has stifled private sector growth in Ghana. He says that the government's decision to shut down the bank 6 years ago has had far-reaching consequences, discouraging ambitious entrepreneurs from pursuing transformative ventures. Speaking at the launch of the UT Story, Volume 3 by Prince Kofi Amwabeng, Sir Sam Jonah underscored the critical need to protect businesses from undue political interference.
The launch of the UT Bank Story, Volume 3, Fateful Decisions, highlights the bank's remarkable highs and lows, as well as valuable lessons and strategies relevant to businesses, individuals, and organizations. Former CEO of the defunct UT Bank, Prince Kofi Amwabeng, spoke to Joy Business about the inspiration behind the book.
We wrote a second book, and we still had enough information to give others, so we couldn't include that of the bank. So then we wrote a second book, Building a Winning Team. And I talked about UT branching out, the various subsidiaries, the head office, going to Nigeria. That's a lot of story. So we reserved this final one for the bank. How we got into banking in the first place, how we acquired the bank, the decisions that we took, and the book's title, by the way, is Fateful Decisions, because every decision that we took and what the government took and what people around us took had effect on UT in building it up to become a Bank of the Year at one stage with innovative products and with love and a great brand, and then finally to the revocation of the license, which caused the demise of UT. So this book is completely about the bank, and it's very, very educative as usual. And of course, we tell the story as it is. So how we decided that we're going to buy a bank, how we bought the bank, how we financed the acquisition of the bank, and how we started building the bank, the culture of the bank, processes and everything is all there. And it's the best book by far, if you ask me.
Renowned businessman and executive chairman of Jonah Capital, Sir Sam Jonah, also emphasized the power of resilience, a key theme echoed throughout the book.
This is perhaps the most profound and painful chapter in Kofi's journey. For it speaks not only of success, but as I said earlier, of betrayal, of the harsh realities of power and the fragile nature of business when it's entangled with politics. The seizure of this bank was one of the most egregious acts of economic injustice perpetrated by a state, a move driven by malice, deceit, envy, and jealousy. It was not merely a collapse of a bank. It was a blow to the very idea that Ghanaians could build something of their own and succeed at the highest level. It sent a chilling message to entrepreneurs and innovators that no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you work, how well you play by the rules, your success can easily be undone by those in power. Yet, despite this very painful chapter, Kofi's spirit continues to soar. It remains unbroken. He has chosen to tell his story not from the place of bitterness, but from a place of reflection. His resilience is a testament to the fact that true success is not measured merely by financial gains, but by the impact one leaves.
Co-authored by George Bintum Isiam, the UT Bank Story, Volume 3, Fateful Decisions, was launched in the presence of prominent businessmen, politicians, friends, and well-wishers who participated in the book's first auction.
All right, so let's get on to Zoom and speak to the president of the Ghana Association of Restructuring and Insolvency Advisors, Felix Ado, for some perspective on this issue. Thanks so much, Felix, for your time here on Business Live. And I want your thoughts about the proposals coming in from owners of these banks, UT Bank, Capital Bank, GN Bank, Heritage Bank, etc., and calling for the restoration of their banks. And now the concern expressed by Sir Sam Jonah.
Yeah, good afternoon, or is it evening? Thanks for inviting me to your program. First and foremost, let me say that I've been listening and I do appreciate some of the concerns raised, okay, in terms of having the licenses restored to these banks, to these reserve banks. Okay. First and foremost, banks operate on reputation, on trust, and good faith. And so that would be the very first challenge for these institutions. Because for a bank to keep doing business, the investing or depositing public should have faith in its ability, its resilience, its going concern status to year in, year out be there so that they can do business with it. Now, if for whatever reason there is any blemish to their reputation, to its stability, that creates a challenge for not only the perception, the reality of it, because many a time the perceptions generate into realities. Okay. So that is the first issue. If today these licenses are restored, what the ordinary reasonable person would do, okay, depositor, is to go into the bank and as quickly as possible pull out all his deposits in the bank. And trust me, the average reasonable person will not be going back to deposit or do business with this organization for a long time to come. Okay? That's the first thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to conclude for me on that.
Yes. And the reason being that the nature of the stock in trade is, as I said, is trust, is belief, is faith in the institution. And that's what it is. It's not like a commodity where you can go place it in and pull it out, issue it as a stock. No. At the end of the day, if I don't have faith in your institution, believe you me, I will not be putting my money in there. Okay.
But Mr.
Good example, yeah.
Realistically, is it possible to give their banks back to them as they are praying for?
Yes, if they get the monies back, all right? Ostensibly, it's the depositors' money or investors' money. What I'm saying is that once you open it up, the investors and depositors will come for those monies, take them out. Remember, banks generally trade on people's money. For every deposit, 100 cedis you put in the bank knows that within a reasonable period, you will need only like 10 cedis. The other 90 cedis it uses to trade out, right? In this particular instance, the depositor will come for his 100% of his money. And you, the bank, will be left with nothing to trade with because the depositor has lost faith in your ability to be there and pay him his monies on demand. It's as simple as that.
It is for that reason some have also made proposals that we should give shares in the merged entities, like giving part of Consolidated Bank Ghana to them. Is it a fair call?
In other words, the investor should be paid in, or the depositor should be paid in shares, so that he will have skin in the game. He will have risk. He will be part of the equity side of the house. Okay. Well, if they are willing to do so, but trust me, if I were the person, I would take my 100% of my money, just like the Euro bonds, right? If government gives me the opportunity today, I will take my 100%. And as you can see, government is not giving anybody such an opportunity because they know that because of the lack of faith, lack of trust and experience, the average investor will take 100% of his investment out as soon as he gets the money. Okay. So it doesn't matter how you manage to package the funding. Okay. The underlying issue is the trust in your ability to return my money to me when it's due or when I want it. All right.
All right.
You need to prove to me that you will deliver first.
Mr. Ado, having worked on several banks in the country over the years, I don't know what you make of the industry now, looking at how the banking system is all playing out.
Well, we have the IMF reports, we have the current administration in place, and they are doing a better job in reviewing the status of the banks and all. But if you ask me, it's kind of wait and see, because what goes on in the banking sector directly impacts what goes on in the bigger economy, right? At this point, inflation is running at 23 or so percent, right? T-bills are also up there in the 20s. We are trying to stabilize, but we are not there yet.
You're not there yet, you see. So a quick expectations on the 2025 budget. It's just around the corner.
Well, I understand that first and foremost, we need to see how best the new government is trying to take stock of what is available, the promises they made, what they can conceivably do to reassure Ghanaians and get the economy back on its feet. Okay. So I'm looking forward to, I won't say an assurance type of budget, okay, which will restore faith to the average Ghanaian that yes, we are not going to overpromise and underdeliver. If anything at all, we will promise less and deliver beyond expectation. Okay, that is what will get us back on track.
All right.
Remember that it's not only the Ghanaian, but outside investors and all the others who help to make this thing happen, make this space of economic reality happen. We are all looking, we're watching to see how best things will shape up. It's kind of early to call, but we're giving this new administration a chance.
All right.
To let us know how they will go about it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Felix Ado, for your time here on Business Life. I truly appreciate it, sir. Let's stay a while longer at the Central Bank because they have justified the timing for auditing remittance activities for the last quarter of 2024. It follows concerns that the action is just targeted at some personalities and institutions. We can hear from George Yafe.
The assurance from the Bank of Ghana follows rumors that the action is targeted at some politically exposed persons that have moved funds in and out of the country before and after the December general elections. There are also speculations that the action was also to expose firms that might have relaxed their rules to aid these transactions. But the Bank of Ghana is denying all these rumors, insisting this should be seen as a normal exercise, which is done every quarter of the year. The central bank has also told Joy Business that it made the announcement because it wanted greater participation and cooperation from all market players. The Bank of Ghana also insists it wants to bring some transparency since the need to publish their action that they are undertaking. Ghana last year got more than $6 billion in remittance. However, there have been concerns about whether there has been some underreporting, hence the need for this review. But the central bank again is insisting that that is not the focus of this audit.
Explore this angle a bit further. Joining us via Zoom is the president of the Ghana FinTech and Payments Association, Martin Awaga. Martin, thanks so much for joining me on Business Live. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are by this action taken by the Bank of Ghana to audit remittances for the last quarter of 2024. Your thoughts?
Thank you for having me, and thank you for also, putting up this platform for us to engage. Now, I think basically I believe that this action is in the right direction, and I, basically support it in all strong terms. Remittances in Ghana. Now, what we have seen is that the whole digital space or the whole remittance space has seen some level of, growth over the past few years. And I mean, you just alluded to the fact that there's been over 6 billion, coming into the country. So for us, we think this is in the right direction. And in as much as we are seeing some growth, it will expose some of the issues we have as per the Foreign Exchange Act of 2016 and then the AML guidelines. Additionally, what this audit seeks to achieve is to also to make it possible for the Bank of Ghana to identify, certain loopholes in the remittance space and redefine the relationship that currently exists, because the remittances business is not only carried on by fintechs alone. It's a relationship more like between the commercial banks and the fintechs. And so these are the institutions that are engaged in the remittance business in the country. So, I mean, this, audit would give us some additional reasons as to why this is being done and what we can do to block some of these loopholes in the system.
Again, Martin, help me understand how this will help in establishing the exact inflows that, came into the country when it comes to remittances over the period.
I mean, well, it's not, one of the things I want just to understand that is that let us not get ahead of ourselves, because when you say exact inflows, that is very debatable. What we believe this audit will do is to provide the Bank of Ghana with sufficient guidance and guidelines in the managing of the remittance space. Of course, there are a lot of entities that are engaged in remittance now. Fintechs and banks are all coming into the space, and we are seeing, a boost in the amount of money or remittances that are coming in, and this is even, a little bit higher than FDIs, foreign direct investment. And so, like I said, it would, provide the Bank of Ghana with sufficient guidelines in managing the remittance space. More importantly, it is the scope of the audit work that will be done, which will reveal how, close they will get to the exact inflows. So saying exact inflows is actually getting ahead of ourselves.
All right. So you are the president of the FinTech, Association in Ghana. It's been argued that some of your members have been under-declaring their inflows, hence the need for this audit. I don't know what you make of that and whether that is indeed accurate.
I think that is totally false and it's not accurate because the business of remittance is not only carried out by fintechs. Like I said earlier, that business is a relationship between fintechs and commercial banks. And so commercial banks are equally engaged on this front. So is it fair to say that, commercial banks are also under declaring their inflows? So let us not get ahead of ourselves and then think fintechs are doing, what is, or are not being compliant. Sitting where I am, fintechs are a lot compliant, and we need to actually appreciate the kind of convenience and tenacity and agility these fintechs are bringing into the industry. And so I would also say that I'm not also in a position to tell if fintechs are the only ones under declaring their inflows. However, the accuracy, like I said earlier, the accuracy of this, or the scope of this audit would unravel this issue that is going on and the belief that some people have, in the ecosystem.
A quick one on the FinTech Awards. How is it shaping up?
Very great. I think it's going to be an explosion, and we have very, high caliber of people, having declared that they are going to be in attendance from all the various sectors of the fintech industry. Now, fintech is not only limited to payments. That industry or that ecosystem has grown beyond just payment or digital payment. And so we are looking at various, even the capital market. We have representatives from the capital market, from, regulatory bodies and what have you. So it's going to be an explosion, and people should expect a lot when it comes to that space.
Very well. Thank you so much, Martin Awaga is a Ghana FinTech Payments Association president, and pretty soon we shall also follow up that on that awards and keep you updated subsequently. Still watching Business Live. We have more for you after this break. Hello, welcome back to Business Live. The National Petroleum Authority has begun conversations with government to fix infrastructure challenges facing the petroleum downstream sector. According to the acting chief executive of the NPA, Godwin Eduji Tamaklo, the challenges, which include demurrage and inadequate storage tank, will be addressed before the close of the year.
I always say that if the wealth is created, it stays in Ghana. If at the end of the day we get the bulk of our products coming from Ghana, the pressure on the Ghana cedi will greatly reduce. And when the pressure reduces and we have stable currency, you're also sure that the impact on pricing would also come down. And that is what will result eventually in lower prices. There are also structural challenges with the industry. I meet the bulk oil marketing companies and their chamber, and estimated cost of demurrage, because they do not have laycans immediately, it's about $35 million annually. That's huge. They will end up passing it on to the final consumer. They are not Father Christmas. They are not in to make losses. And so if demurrage, demurrage alone is costing them $35 million annually, you can imagine if, together with the vision of my sector minister, we are able to even get an alternative structure that ensures that the delays at the port will greatly be reduced in terms of the discharge of petroleum products. That alone significantly will impact on the pricing of petroleum products. $35 million in demurrage costs, who is going to pay it? It's you and I. And so there are structural issues in the industry as well that we need to confront head on, and we'll have to do it immediately. Thankfully, my minister appreciates the issues, so together we would ensure that we get this thing done.
And that's it for Business Live for today. I am Pius Kujubaka. We have more for you when you log on to myjoyoilonline.com/business. You're the numbers.